The context of two legends, in the long history of basketball, few rivalries of imagination have captured the world as much as the ongoing comparisons between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Though the two men never faced each other on the court, their names have been linked for nearly 2 decades, each representing not only individual greatness, but also the story of 2 eras in the National Basketball Association. Jordan, whose prime defined the 1990s, is often considered the ultimate standard of excellence. LeBron, who entered the league in 2003 and is still playing at the highest level more than 20 years later, has rewritten the record books in ways that once seemed impossible. When Jordan recently spoke in France during the summer of 2025, his words once again stirred debate. The occasion was not a formal tribute to LeBron, nor a carefully staged ceremony, but rather a press interaction connected to a global exhibition game. Even so, what Jordan said carried weight. For fans and media alike, any sentence that comes from him about LeBron resonates far beyond the event itself. Jordan's tone was respectful but cautious. He praised LeBron as an unbelievable player, one of the best in the world, if not the best, but quickly added that comparisons across generations must be taken with a grain of salt. This combination of admiration and restraint illustrates how Jordan views the subject, recognition of LeBron's remarkable career without reducing either man's legacy to a simple ranking. The moment also highlighted something deeper about sports: culture. Fans often crave definitive answers. Who is the greatest? Who would win in a hypothetical matchup? Which legacy will stand taller in history? Jordan, however, reminded everyone that greatness can exist in different forms. His words suggested that while debates are inevitable, they should not blind us to the uniqueness of each player's journey. In speaking about LeBron, Jordan acknowledged not just the numbers but the artistry. He mentioned that he enjoys watching him play, a simple yet powerful admission. Coming from the figure who has inspired generations of athletes, this endorsement carries an authority beyond statistics. It is also a recognition that LeBron has already secured his place in the highest echelon of basketball, independent of comparisons. As the world continues to watch LeBron's career wind toward its eventual close, Jordan's comments serve as a reminder. The true measure of greatness lies not only in championships or records, but also in how one inspires admiration from peers and predecessors. Jordan himself rarely offers such insights, and when he does, the basketball world listens carefully. His most recent remarks reveal respect, perspective, and perhaps even a hint of relief that he no longer has to bear the burden of endless comparisons alone. The notion of comparing athletes across eras has always fascinated fans, but it also carries a heavy burden for the players involved. When Michael Jordan addressed the subject of LeBron James, he placed that burden into perspective. His words, that comparisons must be taken with a grain of salt, were not meant as a dismissal, but as a reminder of context. To truly understand why he spoke that way, one must consider the dynamics of how sports narratives are built. Jordan's own career was framed by constant competition. During the 1990s, he was compared to Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and later to younger stars like Kobe Bryant. Yet Jordan himself was rarely in the position of having to define his greatness against someone from a different generation. By contrast, LeBron has spent nearly his entire career being measured against Jordan, often in ways that are unfair. Every achievement, whether a championship, a scoring milestone, or an MVP season, has been filtered through the lens of whether it brings him closer to or further from Jordan's mythical standard. This is precisely why Jordan's caution matters. He recognizes that the circumstances are not equal. The rules of the NBA have changed significantly since his prime. Defensive regulations, pace of play, and even the structure of teams have evolved. In Jordan's era, physicality and hand-checking shaped the game. In LeBron's, spacing, three-point shooting, and analytics dominate. To compare them without considering these differences is to ignore the environment that defined their respective greatness. Jordan's statement also carried an implicit lesson about humility. By refusing to declare himself superior or to diminish LeBron's accomplishments, he modeled the mindset of a competitor who understands the limits of such debates. His stance suggests that greatness is not a zero-sum game. One legend's rise does not erase another's legacy. Instead, each exists within its own framework, influencing different generations in different ways. For LeBron, this perspective might be liberating. He has often spoken about wanting to chase the ghost of Chicago, a reference to Jordan, but he has also acknowledged that his journey is unique. Jordan's acknowledgement of him as one of the best, paired with the reminder that comparisons are speculative, allows space for LeBron's legacy to breathe. It affirms that his accomplishments stand tall on their own, without the need for constant measurement against another. The fascination of fans, however, will never disappear. Debates about the GOAT, the greatest of all time, will continue to fill arenas, television studios, and online forums. Yet Jordan's latest comments add a layer of wisdom. The idea that perhaps the beauty of basketball lies not in finding one definitive answer, but in appreciating the greatness that arises in different times, under different conditions, shaped by different challenges. This is the paradox of sport. We crave absolutes, but we live in eras defined by change. Jordan's words remind us that the legacy of a player is not reduced to a mathematical comparison, but expanded by the stories, the context, and the emotions they inspire. And in this sense, both he and LeBron stand not in opposition, but side by side, symbols of excellence for their own times. When Michael Jordan speaks about LeBron James, there is an unmistakable undertone of respect. This is significant because Jordan is famously private and often reluctant to offer public praise to active players. His recent words, calling LeBron an unbelievable player, one of the best in the world, if not the best, reveal more than casual acknowledgement. They mark a moment of admiration from one of the most competitive athletes in history toward a contemporary who has carved out his own monumental path. Respect in sports is not given lightly. It is earned through consistency, resilience, and impact on the game. LeBron has demonstrated all of these qualities over 2 decades. His longevity alone is without precedent. Entering the league in 2003 as an 18-year-old prodigy and still competing at elite levels past the age of 40. For Jordan, who retired for good at 40 after multiple comebacks, witnessing LeBron maintain such dominance is not only impressive but also historically rare. Jordan's words also highlight an important shift in how we understand admiration. In his era, respect was often conveyed indirectly, through competition, through battles on the court, through grudging acknowledgement of rivals. Today, however, it is more openly articulated. Jordan's admission that he enjoys watching LeBron play demonstrates that respect can transcend rivalry or generational comparison. It is an appreciation of craft, a recognition of greatness for its own sake. There is another layer to this respect, the recognition of responsibility. LeBron has not only excelled athletically but has also carried the immense weight of being the face of the NBA for nearly 2 decades. Media scrutiny, social expectations, and the burden of comparison to Jordan himself could have broken many athletes. Instead, LeBron embraced it, often using the comparisons as motivation. Jordan, who once shouldered similar pressures, understands better than anyone the psychological cost of carrying such responsibility. His praise, therefore, is not just about points scored or games won. It is about the endurance of character. Respect is also evident in the way Jordan refrained from hyperbole. He did not attempt to diminish LeBron, nor did he exaggerate beyond reason. Instead, he chose careful words that balanced admiration with perspective. This measured tone reflects both his competitive nature and his understanding of how his words will be dissected by fans worldwide. By praising LeBron without declaring absolutes, Jordan allowed his respect to be genuine rather than performative. Ultimately, the nature of respect between these two icons is not rooted in personal friendship or frequent communication. LeBron himself has admitted they do not speak regularly. Rather, it is grounded in mutual recognition of what it means to be great. Jordan respects LeBron because he sees in him the qualities that define legends: dominance, resilience, influence, and the ability to inspire others. In return, LeBron has often spoken of Jordan as the standard that pushed him forward, the figure whose legacy motivated his own pursuit of greatness. Respect, then, becomes the bridge between generations. It does not resolve the debates of who is the greatest, but it ensures that both legacies are preserved with dignity. Jordan's most recent words stand as a testament to this respect, adding depth to the ongoing story of how one legend acknowledges another. When Michael Jordan speaks, the cultural echo extends far beyond the hardwood. His influence is not limited to his playing days. It persists in the way his opinions shape conversations about basketball and greatness. This is why his recent comments on LeBron James resonated so strongly. They were not just remarks from a retired player. They were pronouncements from the figure who has long been regarded as the benchmark of the sport. The cultural weight of Jordan's words lies in how they legitimize the conversation around LeBron's legacy. For nearly 2 decades, the debate about whether LeBron could be considered equal to or greater than Jordan has been both celebrated and exhausting. Critics and fans alike have dissected every statistic, championship, and highlight. Yet the conversation often lacked the direct input of Jordan himself. His cautious but respectful acknowledgement of LeBron provides a new lens. It does not settle the debate, but it elevates it to a more balanced perspective. Greatness does not have to be mutually exclusive. In the world of sports culture, endorsements from peers carry a unique power. A journalist or analyst may proclaim LeBron's superiority, but when Jordan himself admits admiration, the discussion shifts. It moves from external comparison to internal recognition. This is not merely media speculation. It is validation from the most revered figure in the game. Fans feel it, players hear it, and the culture absorbs it as part of the ongoing mythos of basketball. The impact also reflects the broader cultural context in which LeBron operates. He is not only a basketball player, but a cultural icon, activist, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and media personality. Jordan, too, was once at the center of culture, though in a different way. His era was defined by the explosion of global marketing, with Air Jordan becoming synonymous with style and success. By praising LeBron, Jordan indirectly acknowledges the continuation of that cultural role, that LeBron, like himself, transcends the sport and represents something larger than wins and losses. Social media magnifies this cultural impact. In Jordan's time, comments would circulate through newspapers or highlight reels, slowly shaping opinion. Today, his words are instantly clipped, shared, debated, and turned into memes or headlines across digital platforms. Within hours of his statement, fans around the world were discussing not just the content, but the meaning behind the tone, the phrasing, and the subtext. In this way, Jordan's respect became not only a statement of admiration, but a global cultural moment. The cultural reverberations also highlight a shift in generational dialogue. Jordan, who once embodied the unreachable standard, is now seen engaging, cautiously but sincerely, with the legacy of the next great figure. This dynamic symbolizes the passing of cultural authority from one era to the next. It reassures fans that greatness is not diminished by time, but instead woven into a continuous story where each era contributes to the broader narrative of basketball. Ultimately, the cultural impact of Jordan's words lies in their ability to unite rather than divide. For years, the Jordan versus LeBron debate has fractured fan bases and created endless arguments. Jordan's measured acknowledgement reframes the discussion, suggesting that it is possible to celebrate both without diminishing either. In doing so, he not only shaped the narrative of basketball, but also offered a model for how culture can hold multiple truths at once, that greatness can exist in parallel, inspiring different generations in different ways. One of the most striking aspects of LeBron James's career is its extraordinary longevity. Entering the NBA directly from high school in 2003, LeBron has remained at the top of the league for more than 2 decades, an achievement that few imagined possible in such a physically demanding sport. Michael Jordan's recent comments on LeBron must be understood within this context, for longevity is not merely about time, but about sustaining excellence over time. Jordan himself played 15 seasons, with 2 retirements and 1 final comeback. That ended in 2003. His prime years, especially between 1988 and 1998, set the gold standard of dominance. Yet even Jordan admitted that his final years with the Washington Wizards lacked the same explosiveness of his Chicago Bulls days. LeBron, on the other hand, has redefined what it means to extend one's prime. At 40 years old, he continues to perform at an elite level, contributing both statistically and as a leader on the floor. This endurance changes the way greatness is evaluated. Jordan dominated the 1990s in a condensed era of absolute supremacy, winning 6 championships in 8 years. LeBron has built his legacy over 2 decades, adapting to changes in the game and maintaining relevance against multiple generations of opponents. For Jordan to call LeBron one of the best in the world, if not the best, acknowledges this rare achievement. The ability not only to reach the top, but to stay there across eras. Longevity also reshapes the psychology of competition. Every season, new challengers emerge, young stars hungry to prove themselves. Most legends fade when the next generation rises. LeBron has faced the likes of Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and many more, yet has never left the stage of contention. His ability to evolve, becoming more of a facilitator, adjusting his physical preparation, and mastering new skills, ensures that he remains relevant even as the game evolves around him. Jordan, who valued adaptability and competitiveness above all, cannot overlook the significance of this transformation. From a cultural standpoint, LeBron's longevity mirrors society's fascination with endurance and reinvention. He is not only an athlete, but a symbol of resilience. For young players entering the league today, LeBron has always been present, a constant reference point. Jordan's respect, therefore, reflects not only recognition of talent, but recognition of the rarest trait of all. The capacity to remain great long after most would decline. It is worth noting that longevity comes at a cost. The discipline required to maintain peak condition, the sacrifices in personal life, and the mental strength needed to remain focused are immense. Jordan, who experienced the exhaustion of constant scrutiny, understands this cost intimately. His admiration for LeBron, expressed so simply in his latest remarks, carries an undertone of acknowledgement that what LeBron has done is not only impressive, but nearly unimaginable. In this way, longevity becomes more than a statistic or a record of years played. It becomes a measure of greatness in its own right, equal in weight to championships or individual awards. Jordan's praise of LeBron is, in part, an acknowledgement of this truth. LeBron has not only reached rare heights, but has stayed there for longer than anyone thought possible. A legacy that future generations will study as much as they do Jordan's reign in the 1990s. Greatness in basketball has never been measured solely by what happens on the court. Michael Jordan understood this in his own time, though his influence largely came through global marketing, endorsements, and the cultural aura of the Air Jordan brand. LeBron James, however, has expanded the very definition of what it means to be a leader beyond basketball. When Jordan acknowledged LeBron with admiration, it was not just about athletic skill. it was also about recognizing the broader scope of his influence. LeBron has positioned himself as more than an athlete. His voice resonates in matters of education, politics, and social justice. The creation of the I Promise School in Akron, Ohio, stands as a symbol of his commitment to community uplift. Thousands of children and families have benefited from his philanthropic initiatives, reflecting a vision of leadership that transcends sports. Jordan, who in his era was often criticized for his reluctance to engage in political or social discourse, cannot overlook how LeBron has redefined the role of the athlete in society. This is not to suggest that Jordan was uninvolved. His philanthropy and business ventures were significant, though often less public. Yet the cultural expectations of his time were different. Athletes in the 1990s were not pressed to be outspoken advocates in the same way they are today. LeBron, playing in the age of social media and global scrutiny, has taken on a role that merges athletic dominance with activism. Jordan's recognition of him as unbelievable may well extend into this territory, a subtle acknowledgement that LeBron has succeeded in a far more complex environment. Leadership also manifests in the way LeBron has mentored younger players. Over his 2 decades in the NBA, he has shared the stage with multiple generations, yet he has remained approachable, often offering guidance and inspiration to those who grew up idolizing him. In contrast, Jordan was known for his relentless competitiveness, which sometimes created distance between himself and younger peers. The difference is not one of superiority, but of style. LeBron's leadership is collaborative, while Jordan's was authoritarian. Both approaches shaped winning cultures, but each reflects the personality of the man behind the jersey. Outside the court, LeBron's leadership has also been entrepreneurial. From producing films and documentaries to building a media company that tells stories of empowerment, he has expanded his legacy beyond the game itself. Jordan, the trailblazer who proved that an athlete could become a global brand, set the foundation for this kind of expansion. Yet LeBron has taken it further, building entire platforms that amplify voices and issues far outside basketball. For Jordan to voice admiration for LeBron is, therefore, not only a recognition of sporting greatness, but also an implicit validation of his broader role. Jordan knows the difficulty of carrying global expectations, of being scrutinized with every step. But LeBron's path includes additional dimensions: constant media saturation, political polarization, and the expectations of activism. To thrive under such conditions while maintaining excellence on the court is a feat Jordan, perhaps more than anyone, can truly appreciate. In this way, Jordan's respect for LeBron acknowledges more than numbers or championships. It honors a form of leadership that has redefined what it means to be an icon. The modern athlete, shaped by LeBron's example, is not confined to the game, but is a figure of influence across culture, politics, business, and community. Jordan's words, therefore, echo beyond basketball. They serve as recognition that greatness today is measured in multiple arenas, not just one. From the moment LeBron James entered the NBA in 2003, the shadow of Michael Jordan loomed over him. Drafted as the chosen one, his destiny was framed not in terms of what he might achieve on his own, but in how closely he could approach the impossible standards set by Jordan. For more than 2 decades, every accomplishment, every failure, and every highlight has been filtered through this lens. This constant comparison has created a psychological burden unlike any faced by players before him. Jordan's recent comments, that comparisons should be taken with a grain of salt, reflect a sensitivity to this burden. He knows what it means to carry expectations, though never to the same degree of being compared to a legend before his career even began. Jordan's own career unfolded in real time, with greatness defined as he achieved it. LeBron's career, by contrast, has been lived under the microscope of comparison from day one. In many ways, Jordan's acknowledgement of him is a recognition not only of his skill, but of his endurance under relentless scrutiny. The mental weight of such comparisons cannot be underestimated. Athletes thrive on confidence, rhythm, and focus, yet the constant narrative of Jordan versus LeBron can erode those very foundations. Every time LeBron lost in the NBA Finals, critics used it to separate him from Jordan. Every time he reached a new statistical milestone, the debate was reignited. What should have been moments of individual celebration often became points in a scoreboard of legacy battles. Living under such conditions requires extraordinary resilience. Jordan himself has spoken in the past about the toll of expectations, especially during his prime in the 1990s. His every move was dissected by media, his private life intruded upon, his will to win questioned in times of failure. For LeBron, that scrutiny has been multiplied by the age of digital media, where every play is instantly shared, every quote magnified, and every opinion turned viral. Jordan's awareness of this difference likely informs his cautious tone. He knows that LeBron's achievements are not only physical but psychological, a triumph of mental durability. The comparisons also create emotional tension between generations of fans. Some idolize Jordan and resist any suggestion that LeBron could surpass him. Others grew up with LeBron as their hero and see him as the rightful heir. For LeBron, navigating this cultural divide has meant existing in a constant debate that he cannot control. Jordan's statement that he enjoys watching LeBron play provides a rare moment of relief in this endless cycle, an acknowledgement that the comparison is not always necessary, that appreciation can exist without rivalry. Psychologically, the effect on LeBron has been paradoxical. On one hand, the comparisons have motivated him to chase greatness relentlessly, driving him to maintain his body, refine his game, and extend his career. On the other, they have created an unattainable standard where perfection is demanded, but never enough. Jordan's respect, therefore, carries immense weight. It provides validation from the very figure against whom LeBron has always been measured. In the end, the psychological burden of comparison is part of what makes LeBron's journey extraordinary. He has not only carried the weight of expectation, but has thrived under it, building a career that stands tall, even beside Jordan's. Jordan's words remind us that greatness cannot always be reduced to comparisons. Sometimes it is found in the resilience to withstand them. The comparison between Michael Jordan and LeBron James extends far beyond the basketball court. It has become a global cultural phenomenon fueled by media coverage and fan discourse. Every statistic, championship, and highlight is endlessly analyzed, debated, and broadcast, shaping the way millions perceive both players. Jordan's recent comments acknowledging LeBron's greatness enter into this dynamic, offering a nuanced perspective in a conversation often dominated by hyperbole. Media plays a central role in amplifying these debates. From television pundits to online sports blogs, every point of data and every game outcome is framed in the context of the greatest of all time conversation. In Jordan's era, comparisons were slower to propagate, relying on newspapers, magazines, and occasional television specials. Today, social media platforms allow fans and journalists to create, share, and debate content instantaneously, making every moment of LeBron's career fodder for discussion. Jordan's words, therefore, carry immediate and far-reaching impact, shaping public discourse worldwide within hours. Fans have also contributed to the intensity of the debate. Their loyalty, passion, and personal investment often amplify comparisons beyond statistics or achievements. Some fans argue that championships are the ultimate measure. Others focus on individual accolades or versatility. Jordan fans often highlight his perfect finals record and historical dominance, while LeBron supporters emphasize his longevity, adaptability, and off-court leadership. The debate is less about determining an absolute answer and more about expressing identity, loyalty, and cultural alignment through sports. Jordan's recognition of LeBron as an unbelievable player intervenes in this discourse with authority. Unlike media commentators, Jordan's opinion carries lived experience and personal understanding of what it means to dominate the league. His measured praise introduces a voice of perspective amid often polarized arguments, reminding audiences that both players' legacies are exceptional in their own right. Globally, the debate has transcended borders. LeBron's career coincides with a period of international media expansion, making his games, achievements, and public statements accessible worldwide. Jordan's earlier career, while global in influence, did not have the same instantaneous reach. By engaging, even indirectly, in this debate, Jordan participates in a dialogue that has become international, bridging generations of fans and players across continents. The amplification by media and fans also highlights the evolving nature of sports narratives. Statistics alone cannot capture the cultural significance of an athlete. The Jordan versus LeBron discussion illustrates how legacy is constructed through storytelling, debate, and interpretation. Jordan's words, measured and respectful, provide a rare anchor in a sea of hyperbolic claims, allowing for thoughtful reflection amidst the noise. Ultimately, media and fans shape how greatness is remembered. Jordan's recent comments demonstrate that even legends must navigate this ecosystem carefully. By offering praise without absolutes, he respects LeBron's achievements while subtly guiding the conversation toward nuance, reminding the world that sports greatness is multifaceted and cannot be reduced to simple rankings or comparisons. One of the central points in Michael Jordan's commentary about LeBron James is the recognition that basketball evolves. Comparing athletes from different eras is inherently challenging because each period presents unique conditions, rules, and styles of play. Jordan's statement that comparisons should be taken with a grain of salt reflects a nuanced understanding that greatness cannot be divorced from its historical context. In Jordan's prime, during the 1990s, the NBA was defined by physicality and intense defensive pressure. Hand-checking was permitted, and perimeter defense was aggressive, often forcing players to adapt to a grueling style. Teams relied heavily on mid-range shooting and isolation plays, and the pace of the game was different from today's standards. Jordan thrived under these conditions, winning 6 championships and earning a reputation for dominance that has rarely been matched. LeBron, by contrast, has played in an era shaped by analytics, three-point shooting, and faster offensive pacing. Defensive schemes have evolved, with zone defenses more prevalent and rules favoring offensive freedom. The league has expanded internationally, diversifying talent pools and creating a highly competitive environment. LeBron's ability to adapt his game, from slashing to the rim to facilitating as a point forward and stretching his range to three-point territory, demonstrates a level of versatility shaped by the evolution of the sport. Jordan's acknowledgement of these differences is subtle but significant. By emphasizing that comparisons are not straightforward, he validates the achievements of LeBron while preserving the integrity of his own era. It is a recognition that basketball greatness is not monolithic. Each player's dominance is intertwined with the rules, competition, and context of their time. The distinction also extends to training, nutrition, and longevity. Modern athletes benefit from advanced conditioning programs, medical technologies, and year-round performance tracking. LeBron has used these innovations to extend his career and maintain elite performance, a factor that would have been less accessible during Jordan's era. Jordan's awareness of these variables likely informs his cautious tone, acknowledging that success across eras requires adaptation to available resources and conditions. Furthermore, the contrast in styles enriches the debate rather than diminishes it. Jordan's finesse, mid-range mastery, and clutch performances contrast with LeBron's versatility, court vision, and sustained dominance. Jordan's words implicitly suggest that comparing them numerically, points, rebounds, or championships, misses the deeper narrative. Both are products of their respective eras, and both have defined their times in ways that cannot be replicated. By stressing context, Jordan offers fans a model for thoughtful evaluation. Rather than fixating on a single greatest label, he encourages appreciation for the qualities that make each player unique. This perspective elevates the conversation, highlighting that legacy is built not only through statistics, but through influence, adaptability, and the ability to define an era. Jordan's respect for LeBron, therefore, is rooted not just in admiration, but in an understanding of the complex factors that shape greatness. Michael Jordan's recent comments on LeBron James offer more than praise. They provide a framework for understanding legacy in basketball. By acknowledging LeBron as an unbelievable player, one of the best in the world, if not the best, while cautioning that comparisons across eras must be taken with a grain of salt, Jordan emphasizes a central truth: greatness is multifaceted and context-dependent. This perspective has significant implications for how we perceive both players and the evolution of the sport. LeBron's legacy is already secure, spanning 2 decades of excellence, adaptability, and influence both on and off the court. Jordan's recognition affirms that this legacy stands independently without needing to eclipse or diminish Jordan's own. The respect expressed by the figure, often regarded as the ultimate benchmark of basketball greatness, underscores that history can accommodate multiple icons, each defining their own era. For the modern game, this acknowledgement carries symbolic weight. LeBron has redefined what it means to be a professional athlete in the 21st century, a combination of on-court dominance, off-court leadership, cultural influence, and philanthropic impact. Jordan's recognition validates this broader vision of athlete legacy, highlighting that influence now extends far beyond scoring or championships. The modern player is measured not only by performance, but by impact on society, media, and culture. Moreover, Jordan's words serve as a model for fans, analysts, and players alike. In a world obsessed with rankings, debates, and greatest-of-all-time narratives, his perspective reminds us that appreciation can coexist with comparison. One can celebrate Jordan's clutch performances, competitive fire, and 6 championships, while simultaneously admiring LeBron's versatility, longevity, and social leadership. The narratives do not cancel each other out. They enrich the tapestry of basketball history. The implications extend to younger generations as well. Aspiring athletes can look at both Jordan and LeBron as templates for success, understanding that greatness manifests in different ways. One may dominate through precision and relentless competitiveness. Another may combine adaptability with resilience and social influence. Both pathways are valid. Both can inspire, and both deserve recognition. In conclusion, Michael Jordan's remarks encapsulate respect, perspective, and wisdom. By acknowledging LeBron's greatness and emphasizing the contextual nature of comparisons, he frames a conversation that elevates the sport rather than diminishes it. Fans, players, and historians are reminded that legacy is more than a tally of achievements. It is the lasting impact one leaves on the game, on culture, and on those who follow. LeBron's journey, viewed through Jordan's lens, is a testament to the evolution of basketball, proving that greatness transcends eras, styles, and generations. Jordan and LeBron, therefore, are not opponents in an eternal debate, but co-authors of the ongoing story of basketball excellence. Their legacies intersect not through rivalry alone, but through mutual recognition of what it means to reach the pinnacle, endure under pressure, and inspire the world, a standard of greatness that future generations will continue to study, celebrate, and aspire to emulate.